Hello everyone, I'm Gurunext and this is the fifth update of Spawned engine. In this time I was working on for 7 weeks. Every week I was working on different aspects of the game. And let's just hop into the changes. The first thing I was working on was the hand movement that I mentioned earlier in the fourth update. I just wanted for player to drag the block with his hand and would swing at the point he's looking at. So, and it places the block in the same fashion. So basically, if I was really close to the block, it would bend the arm really much. If I would be far away, it would try to reach the block. And if the reach is large enough, it will break the block. So as you can see, I have a smaller reach than I had before. Maybe it's noticeable, but basically it represented with this box right here. And if the box is yellow, then you can only break the block with the right item. If the box is green, you can only break the block with the left one, or interact with it. If it's blue, then you can interact with both items. So basically every item has its own reach now, and it goes from your hand. So what right item can reach now, only left item can reach on the left side, like that. Basically that's basic stuff for the buff system, that every item has its own reach. The lowest reach would be for the torch. It's really hard to reach and place it. Now it's just burned off, so I cannot show that. Next thing I was working on, it was modeling. So I thought I was gonna make a lot of different models, like a pickaxe, different shapes like swords and daggers and armors, but I was not able to do so. There was just too much other stuff I had to do for the game before I just hop into the new item making and such. So what I managed to change though was I scrapped the models that was imported from the modeling programs like 3ds Max, and I just did everything in Unity. So every item is now made with planes and boxes, basically my own made boxes with just 2 voxels. So yeah, that's how the pickaxe look. You can rotate it in the Book of Knowledge now, just like the player here. So that's about it. I just retextured the pickaxe a bit. I made this wooden look, and then this stone tip right here. And the next thing I was working on was the Book of Knowledge. I added this page switching thing, then I aligned the text here for both sides, and there was no way to do so except by coding those gaps between, adding those flexible gaps that Unity has. I learned a lot about, drawing the text, and now this text is fully interactable. I can use bold text or italic text or both, or I can color different colors. Of course, I have not yet done an example for that, but basically it would look much more interesting to look at the book, at the different fonts, different shapes of words, maybe icons, but basically there will be icon display just here, I think, just to display what I want to describe, because not always it will have a model in it. because there will be a lot of stuff like tutorials, how to do stuff in the book of knowledge. So the next thing, I was continuing on work with that. I actually changed the whole thing. It's drawn like every inventory or book of knowledge or the whole player GUI or menu screen, it all comes from the same class. Like I call it GUI frame for all the GUI drawing, and I remade a lot of, like every draw text or draw texture I had to redone because it was so confusing to work with the presets of Unity. So I had to redone it my way, and it's going to be a lot easier and faster to do so. Though I added pivot points for every texture, and it doesn't take up too much work. It just adds for it. But I don't know, I just had to do it. And the only part what I use the pivot points is the player GUI for the health bar. Now it has the pivot point here, and then the quick bars has pivot point here, so it really precisely aligns with the target, and the target cell has the pivot point. Just like this thing right here for the wall texture layout, which I call GUI frame from now on. So I have to disable that. And on the 5th week I was working on the drop system. So now you can choose an item you want for the specific block, let's say a pickaxe, and it would display what is the percentage, what is the chance to drop an item or more items than just one. So this is a pretty good example I came up with. If you destroy a grass block, then you would get 55% chance to drop the grass block, but if it's not dropped, it will drop a dirt block instead. And this represents the amount of dirt blocks it will drop. It's approximately a bit over 2, like 2 1/4. You can disable this kind of display and enable this one, so you would see that it drops 1 to 2 models, those kind of things, but every model would contain 1 or 2 amount of that item. So this block might have more blocks inside of it, if this makes sense. But let's see, if there would be example of the money bag, it would contain 20 coins. Money bag is just, useless. You just want the coins, so it would give you 20 coins instead of 1 money bag or something. So that's why I've done it like that, but it's more convenient to use just approximate value. That's why I made it on default. So the last thing I was working on was an icon editor for my block icons, and then I figured out that, well, let's just make icons for items as well. It doesn't look pretty at all. It looks kinda, I mean, it was looking a bit better when it was sort of like pixel art for the items, and blocks were kinda just a copy of Minecraft 3D blocks. But now everything is just real like textures. So if you press on icon editor, you can actually make your own icons by capturing those items. It doesn't work with the particles, so it doesn't capture this fire right here. So the torch icon looks pretty bad without the particles. But I wonder, maybe I will do like ability to change from this display, from the icon display, into 3D model display, which is going to be hard to make, but I just want this option to be available because it doesn't look too good, but it looks just the way it should, you know, realistic. I don't need to draw anything, or I can just capture it and put it as a 3D 32 by 32 icon. I might change the resolution to make it look better. I don't know, it's just I'm kind of upset by the way it looks, but it's good to represent the stuff, I guess. So that's about the update. There were not many major things. Wait a minute. I forgot one thing, and if I would have been forgotten to show that, that would be a big deal, because there was just one major update that I can, you know, display it and say, whoa, this is a big thing. It was confusing to do, but I have done the penetration. It doesn't quite work well, but and it only works for dirt and grass. But this is how it looks. You could just throw the item, and if it lands on the point of the item which can penetrate, in this case the pickaxe would penetrate only with this part of itself, so only can penetrate with its tip. Okay, but it has to, you know, go fast enough to not bounce off. Just come on, you can do so. Here we go. So here he penetrated a bit more than expected. That's what I'll be fixing. As you can see, it's double is more than I want to, really. It's just double is more. But basically whenever it penetrates, it becomes attached like a torch, so there can be multiple penetrations, and whenever I'll do something like move a block or something, the item will move as well, rather than drop on the floor or something. Of course, if I penetrate the block and stuff, then I destroy the block, you would still get the item back. Or I press and penetrate. Whoa, that was a bug. So many bugs. There will be a lot of stuff to work on. A few more weeks. This is more like it, but whatever. You can also, I think you can, yeah, you can detach the item by just attacking on him or punching or whatever with another item, because hands are not yet useful, cannot be used just as hands, and there is a delay that you can only throw items not as fast, and this delay doesn't really work too well. Before I was like able to throw bam 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 those sticks, but now it has the delay. So that's basically it. I'm glad I didn't forget about the penetration, which would be really awful. But mostly there was just changes in the code, so it would be more optimized, and I was learning some new stuff. I enabled shadows, so it's not a big deal. It's just the thing in Unity that you can enable now for free, so that's cool. I just wanted to see how it would look. I kind of wanted to make a day-night cycle, but there's a lot more that I actually want to do. So stick with me for the next update. And basically I'm gonna release more updates more frequently. Every week I'm gonna release a small update about what I was doing, because there was like 7 weeks and 7 things I have done, so it's basically I could just split it up, and it would be much better for me and just for the viewers to understand what's going on. And in the end I would make, the big update talking about everything I have done in those weeks. And this coming week, I'm gonna be going on a global game jam, trying to find some fellow programmers and game designers, maybe show my own project, or I don't know. And the whole thing about that, I'll be making like a mini prototype for 48 hours for 2 days, and I never done that kind of speedy thing, so I'll have to make a raw idea and just try to do it as fast as possible for as much gameplay as possible. What I noticed, the games only persist for like 2 minutes, so I just want to make a gameplay good enough for last like 3 or 5 minutes. So yeah, you can actually figure out that program is a big thing, that if you program for 2 days, another person would play like the game for like 2 or 3 minutes, and that's frustrating about that, but that's cool, and there's a lot of players playing, and it kind of pays off. It's kind of a good thing, I guess. Well, that's about it. So I'm really excited about this week. There's a lot of plans that I can have anyways for the game, but I guess when everything is done, the next week I'll be working on, in the next week after this one, I'll be working on the design of Book of Knowledge. I'm gonna be adding more pages, maybe a search bar or something, just to switch from page to page. And there will be a lot of more stuff that I just forgot about now. But yeah, there's a lot of plans. You still have to make the swords and weapons and other equipment, to fill up this thing and this thing. Yeah, for one person it's a lot of stuff. But now that I changed the modeling in Unity, and I actually modeled a few things, did I don't know. Well, yeah, I remodeled the player, so now I know how it works, and I will be able to make some swords anytime soon that will be able to penetrate a stone at some point, because this pickaxe cannot penetrate. The stone has too high hardness level. This thing right here, it has like 3 times as much, and I had some trouble penetrating through grass. So I guess you get the point. But that's it about now. I see you after 1 week just. I'm gonna explain my experience of Game Jam, maybe even release some prototype of my game, and I actually gonna be working on another game, just to prepare myself for the contest or whatever it is. So yeah, see you guys later.